Thanks for joining, Heather. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes to let people hop on since it's a slightly different time than the 8 o'clock, and I'm also recording it.
Perfect.
Again, I know this is a slightly different time. A lot of our calls happen in the 8 o'clock hour. So I'm going to give this another couple of minutes, or maybe not a couple, maybe another minute or two, just to let people hop on, and then I'll get started. This is being recorded, so we can share that with whomever you may think could benefit from this mental health talk, we're going to call it. Heather, you're by me, and I'm hoping that I get this in before the storm. I came outside to be away from the boys and have a little peace and quiet, but Mother Nature may have other intentions.
Yeah, I thought the storms were supposed to come in at 6, but it's lucky when it's not here yet.
Yeah, it's gotten bumped, by a little bit over the past few hours because I thought it was going to be storming when I picked the boys up, but we shall see. All right, it's 7:03. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I am recording this, so feel free to share with anybody who you feel might benefit from it. A couple of disclaimers, I guess. I'm a crier, so I could potentially cry at any point during this talk. Also, I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse. I am not a healthcare professional. I am just somebody whose life has been positively impacted. My mental health has been positively impacted by Plexus. And through that impact, I have done some research because when something changes, you kind of want to know why, whether it's good or bad. So I've done some of my own research as to why I feel better, why I should continue what I'm doing to feel better. And I just kind of put that down and wanted to share. So a little bit about me. I did not start Plexus for mental health, period. I started Plexus in 2019, October, because I had blinding migraines at least 3 times a week. It was something that I was sure wasn't going to work, again, because I tried a lot of things, but I figured, I would get my money back. So I started taking the triplex for migraines. It worked. I haven't had a full-blown migraine since I started. I've had like some headaches along the way, some of which have been caused by wine, but it worked pretty quickly. And I wasn't entirely convinced that it was affecting my mental health clinically, but I was pretty sure that maybe I was feeling better because I wasn't in so much pain. I was able to function better simply because my head didn't hurt all the time. I wasn't laying in the dark. I wasn't hiding from noise. I wasn't hiding from people. Fast forward to like December, the first week of December, I felt so much better. And I had been on antidepressants for almost a decade too. I was on the highest prescribable dose of Prozac, and I was also on Wellbutrin. A little bit about that journey. So I had been on antidepressants. It was so poorly controlled that I was having heart palpitations and issues with my heart. At 36, let me move inside, okay? Okay, we'll turn the dead on to white. Okay, plan B. Thanks for hanging with me, guys. So at 36, I had a cardiologist. I was having issues. I have a family history of heart issues, and it was something that I definitely didn't want to ignore and have checked out. So I went to a cardiologist, and this is related to the mental health, so bear with me. I went to a cardiologist at 36. He was this really funny Polish guy. I understood him most of the time, got the gist of what he was saying. And he ran all these tests and he goes, well, here's the deal. In those words, here's the deal. Your heart issues are benign. What is causing them is stress, depression, and anxiety. And I'm going to tell you this, Logan. And he looks directly at me and holds my hand. If you don't get those things under control, your heart issue will no longer be benign. And at a very young age, you will leave your children motherless. True story. So this is summer of 2019. And I thought, I'll take baths. I got those mandala coloring books and a couple of other things to try and decompress and do self-care. Then I started Plexus, and it became evident pretty quickly that it wasn't only helping with my migraines, but it was helping with a lot of other things too. So I went to my primary care physician and I said, hey, there's something that I really want to try. I never wanted to be on antidepressants long-term. This was never my goal. I was never, in all the times in my life where it's like, I want to be whatever when I grow up. It wasn't somebody who was sad and anxious and in the hospital with panic attacks and having to deal with these things. It wasn't that. He wasn't completely on board, but didn't shut it down either. So he simply asked me, hey, I'll support it, but would you please do it after the holidays? Because holidays are tough for everybody. So just wait so you don't have all of that additional stress, and then try it after the new year. So I did. I weaned down and I have been medication free since January of 2020. Insert global pandemic. So I immediately started panicking, like, hey, I'm trying to make these big moves with my mental health. I really want to stay on board. I don't want to have to remedicate. And, what can I do? So I had in December, I started on the triplex. In December, I had added ease just to help keep the tension headaches away. And then right after, I had started Vital Biome because I started hearing all these really great things about it. So I had a really good regimen, and I couldn't believe that it was working, right? I've tried probably 6 different antidepressants or anti-anxiety medicines over different courses of time. Here, try this one. Okay, it made me dizzy or it made me vomit. Here, try this one. Here, try this one. And then that's where I landed on Prozac and Wellbutrin for the duration that I was on it. I'm glad I know a better way now, but I am very thankful that I had those at the time because there were some really dark times in my life that I needed to get through. And for what they were at the time, they did help me. But I am glad that I have a better way now. So why is this working? Why, when, I've talked to therapists, I've worked on myself, I've tried to gain all these coping skills, I have done all the things, you know what I mean? You're like, hey, I'm sad. What can I do to be less sad? Hey, I'm anxious, and I just had a panic attack. What stimuli can I change to not have panic attacks? So I started doing some research, gut health and Plexus gut health and probiotics, gut health and depression, anxiety. And I learned a lot. I have a couple of notes over here. So if you see me looking over, it's because I often go off on tangents. Jill and Heather know this very well. So it helps keep me on track. But I wanted to share this because in the past couple of years, if we've learned anything, it's that we need to take care of ourselves. We need to practice self-care. We need to look out for number one. It's hard to do. Life is busy, and anything that you can do to help that outside of decreasing your schedule, making your kids listen, not getting stuck in traffic, those things aren't things that you can change. So there are two main neuroreceptors that are created in the gut. 90% of your serotonin is created in the gut. One that isn't talked about as often, but is equally as important, is dopamine. And 50% of your dopamine is created in your gut. So those two happy neurotransmitters are very important in your mental health, whether it is you're slightly anxious or whether it's I haven't been out of my bed in a week. Both of those things play a huge part. You often hear of the gut-brain axis. What does that mean? It's quite literally a highway. You have your vagus nerve, which is a bidirectional highway. It runs from your brainstem all the way down to the very base of your gut, connects your gut and your brain. Something that some people don't know or understand is when you're in the embryonic state, you have cells, the same cells split and create the brain and the gut. So those two pieces of your body literally come from the same cells. So they come from the same cells, and now they have a highway that runs directly between them. It sends all of the information up and all of the information down. Even down to the fact that if you are hungry and your stomach creates more stomach acid to digest, when somebody's, you are in a tense situation when your mind is very anxious and you feel nausea, the butterflies, it's because of that connection between the two. But those two organs, your brain and your guts in their entirety, start out the same and then they divide. So it makes a lot of sense when you think about it in that way, that the two would want to talk to each other for the duration of your life. Your vagus nerve does more than just talk between the two to impact your mood, its stability, and all of that. It talks to your immune system, creating different gut bacteria to help protect you from viruses and illness. And it also aids in digestion, obviously. The aids in digestion part is also really important. Up to a third of people who are either clinically depressed or anxious are also constipated. So that just further enhances the conversation on the fact that the two are connected. Some people, there are arguments that, well, of course you're constipated because you are on antidepressants, but the same way that, for digestion and everything flows up, it flows back down and it can back you up. Having poor gut health in general, which can be negatively impacted by overconsumption of sugar, overuse of antibiotics, poor diet, any of these number of things. You've heard the word dysbiosis and discussions on how it just throws everything out of whack. Your gut bacteria needs to be diverse. Good bacteria is not limited to just one single organism. Those who have guts with low diversity in their gut bacteria, good and bad, overproductions of yeast, are more prone to the anxiety and depression because it's suppressing the body's ability to create the, again, happy hormones, if you want to call them neurotransmitters, that are going to send all those good and bad feelings back and forth. Sorry, I'm reading my notes here. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. But essentially, and again, I'm not an expert here, but anything that you can do to enhance your gut's health is going to help everything, including mental health especially. There's arguments on whether probiotics, prebiotics, if you have more fiber, they say that if you want to enhance the health of your gut, you need your fermented, you need your leafy greens. Plexus does that. So we have Slim, which has your prebiotics. We have your probiotics in the form of your Probio 5 and your Vital Biome. Vital Biome changed everything. I already started feeling better, but adding that into my regimen, I'm a 2-a-dayer full time. I don't ever change that. If anything, I up it, a 2-a-dayer. Has helped everything. You get your fermented foods from the greens. You get your leafy greens from the greens. So being consistent with those has really helped me. There have been times with everything that's going on in the world, stressful times at home, family issues, where, I've been like, do I need to go back on medicine? Is this going to be enough? I won't say that there aren't days when I'm sad. There aren't days where I struggle, because I do. Holly was on a call not too long ago, and she heard this part. The first person out of everybody who's going to lie to you is going to be yourself. You're going to have moments where life is hard and you're going to tell yourself that you can't do it, or I shouldn't do it, or I want to do it, but I'm not good enough to do it. And making sure that you have all of the right tools can help stabilize those emotions, can help keep you grounded while those things are happening. I can tell you without a doubt, if I had ever come off of my antidepressants prior to Plexus and tried to do this on my own, I would have failed. I would have ended up in the hospital, because I'd been there several times with panic attacks that were uncontrolled. Jennifer, I think so. I'm a stress eater too, especially at night. I get it, I would get into my own head and everything sounded good. I wouldn't just go for the chips. I would go for the chips and the M&Ms. Oh, and maybe I'll bring up a pop. Maybe I'll do these things, because when you're doing, some people eat, some people pick, like they'll pick at things. Some people have tics, but I was also I'm a stress eater. So I do think that Vital Biome and just the overall impact it's had on my mental health has had an effect on my weight. I do still have some weight to lose, because I am also coming out of another stressful time. But I'm definitely a 2-a-dayer. I have had a couple of people who have tried 2-a-day, and it was just too much of that particular strain of probiotic at one time. So I've always had them do one morning and night. I really don't think that there's a wrong way to do it. And I do still take my probio, because it's a different strain and it has the digestive enzymes and the antifungal. So I did not discontinue that to start taking the Vital Biome. Yeah, you're welcome. But going back to what I was saying is being able to have at least more of an appropriate amount of these neurotransmitters that are sending the information back and forth. And I don't want to get too technical and talk you guys to death and have you guys just glaze over and go away. Like, I can do something more in depth at a future time, but you'll lie to yourself and you'll tell yourself these things that aren't correct and that will keep you down. I mean, I wasn't just sad. I have significant childhood trauma that has changed the way that I've always thought my entire adult life. I never had anybody who told me I was good. I never had anybody who said, you can be whatever you want. And when you come from that, and I've done a lot of work to get past that. It still is kind of always there, but I've done a lot of work. But when you come from that, you don't have that skill at all. And so when your gut is unhealthy, you especially don't have any skills to try to move past that. And I mean, I'll say it again. I had a board certified cardiologist tell me that if I did not, and pardon my language, Holly, he was a Polish guy who didn't care what he said to anybody. If I didn't get my shit together, I would die and my children would be left with only a father. Not that, kids don't get by like that, but he said, you will leave your children young. Your cardiac issues right now are benign, but you will die young. So in this, research I've done, it's really helped me understand the importance of staying consistent with my supplements. I took my pills every night. I took my Prozac every night. I took my Wellbutrin, which, by the way, put me in the hospital because they gave me a low dose of Wellbutrin to complement the Prozac. Cool, whatever, I'll try it. They're like, okay, and in 2 weeks, you're going to up your dose. I had to leave work because I was having palpitations and vomiting. I ended up admitted to the hospital over an antidepressant. So, hey, antidepressants help you. And again, I will say that they did help me for a period of time. I wish I'd known a different way, but those side effects are not a joke. I had a team of doctors for 18 hours not be able to tell me what was wrong with me. I went to work, went to the hospital from work. My kids had no idea where I was. My husband had to leave me and go be with my kids. And for 18 hours, they had no idea what was wrong with me. And it was a medication. So I'm super thankful to have these tools. My regimen that helped me move past that darkness and into a place of light and has helped me maintain that even through some really tough times, especially recently. I have some family stuff going on, and it's very easy when your history is rooted in your family. It's very easy when those things come up to go into a tailspin. I'm still standing, yay. But my regimen is Slim and Active in the morning. I take 2 BioCleanse twice a day, early and then usually later before dinner. And I actually take 4 ProBio at night. And then depending on how much I've eaten, because I just don't want to upset my stomach with too much in, I'll either take my Vital Biome when I with breakfast, or I'll take it after lunch. I kind of just, it depends on what I'm doing that day. If I've been too busy to eat or whatever. I'm one of those people that, like, I had to take my prenatals at night because they upset my stomach. So I can't have too much going on in there if I don't have food or liquid in there too. But that's a little bit about what I've learned. Things are so uncertain right now in general. I mean, you know, mental health is what people are talking about. And I mean, I'm sure you've seen an uptick in the conversations about mental health in the last 24 hours, given what has happened in Texas. I'm not saying that that's related to me, but they are saying that that was in regards, you know, it was largely attributed to mental health. Soccer moms being too tired to go to the game. Somebody who's clinically depressed and not able to get out of bed. Somebody who can't go in social settings without breaking out in hives. I mean, you can see I got a little nervous today. I got a little nervous when I had to run here. It doesn't matter whether your mental health illness, your mental health issues, or what you want to consider low level, or whether they're way up there where I was. I wanted to share a little bit of my story and what I've learned along the way, a little bit of the sciencey side. So that way, anybody who wanted to learn more, because there are some people who know nothing of Plexus, but that it helped their joint pain. They know nothing of Plexus except that they tried lean and incorporated that into their routine and lost 30 pounds over the course of a summer. There are some that know nothing of Plexus other than I gave my kid the chewable and he started pooping again. Everybody starts for a different reason, and sometimes that's as far as their journey goes, and that's okay. They don't do research. They know that it helped them with A, B, or C, and they move on. So it's our job to educate them and spread the word. It's our job, now that we know that there's a better way, to make sure that people understand that they have options that don't include pharmaceuticals. It's our job to make sure that the people who are out there actively seeking help, that they understand that they have a partner, an advocate, and somebody who's always going to be there. I have had moments where I haven't been able to be present and be my best self, and I've had to reevaluate the way that I'm doing things and make sure that I understand how far I've come. So I just wanted to share a little bit, and I won't keep people. I know people have things that they have to do. I had soccer already 2 nights this week, so I know people have schedules, but I wanted to share a little bit about where I've come from. When I say that Plexus has helped me be less sad, I don't say that lightly. I don't say it in the fact that I spilled my coffee in the morning and it really ruined my day. I say that meaning with every ounce of intention that it changed my life. My life. not many people can say that about their vitamin. And I really think that it's worthwhile to learn a little bit about that so that when somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, I saw you post, or now what's the word for Vital Biome, the psychobiotic? I saw you post about that psychobiotic and I was really interested about it. I feel like it's worthwhile to share some of that information so that anybody that wants to talk to somebody about their mental health as it pertains to Plexus can speak confidently and bring somebody into the fold. They may not be a business builder for you. They may not do anything for you as far as that goes. But if you can impact that person in that way, that's invaluable. I think that everybody should have at least a little bit of knowledge. So that way, when somebody says, hey, Jennifer, I am on Paxil. Do you think I could get off? Yeah, you could get off. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this. Kind of getting myself back into a better headspace and leading a call and talking about these things that I'm passionate about and that are important to me makes me feel better, makes me feel like in an environment where sometimes, you know, for people, things can feel so dark. There's a little bit of light. I wish that maybe what I should do is do a little craft project and get a little bulb and put it in a bottle of Vital Biome and twist the top off and then light shoots out the top. Maybe that's kind of what I need to do. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, kind of a little bit about the science, the vagus nerve, the fact that your brain and your gut used to be the same thing. That's why they talk so well to each other. So yeah, that was the basis of it. You guys know me. I didn't know if you had any questions. I may or may not be able to answer them, but I just wanted to share that with you guys tonight. And I will get this downloaded and then re-uploaded back to YouTube. Maybe you don't want to share it because of my rain scramble here and the fact that I had to change locations and it was a little hectic there for about a minute, but I will definitely make sure it's available to anybody who would like to share it. Any questions? Comments? Comments on the fact that I only cried once and not 3 or 4 times. Love you too. I appreciate you sticking with me, even though sometimes I'm a mess. Is Holly trying to figure out how to unmute, or is she typing? I can't tell. I love you, Holly. Well, like I said, I won't keep you. I was kind of trying to keep it to around 30 minutes. I can't believe I filled 30 minutes. But I will share this in the group, and I appreciate you guys supporting me in discussing this with you. The 3 of you know me pretty well and know that it means a lot to me to share this message. So I appreciate you guys being here. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your evening. If you have to go out, try and stay dry the next couple of days, and I will see you guys soon. Have a good night.